The next question has to do with the inspiration of Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, which has been a major help in my journey. And in chapter 10, the chapter on the mastermind, page 167, the mastermind can be defined as the coordination of knowledge and effort combined in the spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. And Napoleon Hill says that without the facility of the mastermind, that no great person has succeeded without that tool.
But the part that was edited out of that book is that this mastermind, Napoleon Hill, was, while he was interacting with physical people, it was not the physical humans with whom he was interacting that he was talking about. He was coming into vibrational alignment with these vibrational essences. And what he was really trying to say to you is that you all have access to infinite intelligence. And when you find the vibrational attitude of whatever that is, then you are unlimited in your ability to receive, you see. You have time for a story. We want to give you this story because it really speaking, it's in the air and it's what you're talking about here. So many years ago, Jerry was doing a presentation and he was telling a story from this wonderful Think and Grow Rich book. He received so much benefit from it personally and he taught it to anyone who would gather and listen. And he was telling a story from the book about this sharecropper's daughter who was approaching this very powerful man. And she said, "My mammy's got to have 50 cents. And he said, "Get away from me." And the little girl, instead of being afraid of him, in her determination, she just stepped up and demanded that he give her 50 cents. And he picked up a barrel stave. He was going to strike her, or it looked that way. And instead of running away, she just stepped closer still and said, "My mammy's got to have that 50 cents. And he dropped the weapon and reached in his pocket and gave her the 50 cents. And the person who was witnessing this talked about the power of that single-mindedness. That was the point of the story. So Esther, who has now been receiving Abraham only a few months, they were still living in Phoenix, is sitting in the back of the room watching Jerry on the stage giving this presentation. And as Jerry, in his dramatic performance, is inspiring this audience to all of this understanding, Esther felt this energy move into her body that she knew was different from the energy of Abraham, but it was a powerful and specific energy, and Esther knew she was receiving the essence, just like he talked about in that book, of Napoleon Hill. She could not stay on her chair. She could barely stay in her body. She held onto the chair literally and said, "Hang on, this is going to be over in a little bit." And the moment Jerry said his closing remarks, Esther dashed to the front of the room, took him by the hand and said, "Come with me and come with me now." And they went to the parking lot where Esther and Jerry sat in the car, and Jerry talked for hours to Napoleon Hill. Jerry said to Napoleon Hill, "What would you do differently if you had it to do over again?" And he said, "I would have explained where I got it." And Jerry said, "And why did you not?" And he said, "It would never have been published." So, now many years pass. Jerry and Esther are happily receiving Abraham. We're putting everything back in the book that was edited out. And Jerry is in a bookstore and sees an odd-looking book and reads, it is the newly released, never before printed, entire manuscript from Napoleon Hill. So Jerry is excited beyond belief. This is about 3 years ago. He takes that book and he buys the book that he'd been teaching from all those years, buys a magic marker highlighter, goes back to his hotel room, and line by line compares the book to see what was left out. The word vibrational was left out over and over and over. Any indication that you are part of that which is non-physical, words like ethers, all of this non-physical part of it was edited out. So then, move forward a little further. Now Jerry and Esther have been invited by the producer of The Secret to make a television movie based on the work of Abraham. Those are the words that she offered. So Jerry and Esther agreed to do that, and she came on board a ship and filmed the entire seminar and took Jerry and Esther and Abraham to a green screen and interviewed them all, us all, and then began the editing process of this movie. And it wasn't too far into it, and Jerry and Esther received an email that the powers that be, the television station, who was maybe going to air this, was to be a TV movie, wanted the word vibration to be edited out of it. And Jerry and Esther said, all these years later. And then Jerry said, you know, I read, he said, and taught from that book, Think and Grow Rich, for years. And in the opening of the book, Napoleon Hill says, the secret, the secret, the secret, the secret, the secret, over and over again, the secret, the secret, the secret, the secret, the secret. And Jerry said, I never knew for sure I found the secret. None of us did. We just kept reading and reading. We'd say, I wonder if this is a secret. I wonder if this is a secret. I wonder if this is a secret. No one knew because the secret was edited out. And what the secret was edited out then, it's been edited out again. What the secret is you are source energy in physical bodies. You are a combined being. You are a two-headed monster, not a singular being. You are source energy in a physical body. And if you take out of it the vibrational relationship, if you remove the ability to feel in your belly the alignment of the being that is you, then you have taken out any understanding of how to control your own life experience, you see. So we find it joyously humorous that yet again a phenomenon, we'll talk about that in a moment too, this new movie, The Secret, is still leaving out the secret. And not without good reason, because the world at large doesn't want to know that they are vibrational beings. The world at large is not ready to accept that they are source energy in a physical body. The world at large is really seeming to be happier banging around trying to control the uncontrollable, trying to purify the water, trying to deal with things in an action basis rather than taking the time to align with the energy of source. And we want you to understand, you're leading edge people. You're beginning to get this even as we are visiting here today. You were source energy before you came into this body, but because you are in this body, the source energy that you were before is now more. Do you get that? Do you understand that that's the reason for your being? Physical humans have got it so backwards. They think that God is all finished and complete and you've been sent here as substandard people to somehow bang around and figure it out and live up to whatever it is that he wanted from you. And if you suffer and strive enough and are remorseful enough, and if you do whatever it is that whoever it is that at the moment is deciding is the thing that you should do to jump through the hoop, then maybe you'll be worthy enough. And we say nothing could be further from the way that it is. You are source energy wanting to create in these bodies. And you can tell in every moment of your experience whether you are allowing yourself to be that full extension or whether you are pinching yourself off in some way, you see. So the true medicine, the true secret is understanding that it is already done and that you already deserve it, and find the way to line up with those thoughts. But you can't just snap your fingers and say to someone who is depressed or who's sick or who's broken in some way, oh, it should be like this for you or it is like this for you, because vibrationally speaking, you can't set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98.7. The frequencies have to match up. So when you get it, that as you are calling yourself or calling them forward more and more into alignment, that is the path. So we wouldn't talk about medicine. We would talk about the path of least resistance. We wouldn't talk about medicine. We would talk about the natural flow to wellness that was orchestrated for you on your behalf before you even got here. We would talk about the wellness that you really are, not the lack of wellness that you are temporarily displaying by your screwy way of looking at life.
Thank you.